Hello, welcome. Welcome to Let's Talk Basketball, specifically NBA with Rick and Jack. Hello, my friend Jack.
Hey, sir, how are you?
I'm good. A lot of sports these days.
A lot.
I mean, we got, we just had our sports show, which we talked about a lot of other sports, but we like to dedicate, as you know, one show, 25-minute segment to strictly NBA because there's a lot going on.
Yes.
Speaking about a lot going on, what's happening in Lakerland, the champions? What's going on with the Lakers?
Well, Schroeder came back this week, and he put a light in there. You know what? And he's just made a difference maker in that team. Not to mention, I think they were a little bit tired and deflated when Davis went out. So, but they were not shooting, and it's one of the things that we talked about, where you looked at it at the free throw line. When they're not even making free throws, that's a team that's going through a shooting slump. They weren't going to attack the basket because guess what? They weren't going to make those free throws either. So they were just chalking up shots. And now, Schroeder comes in, they're lighting it up. And in fact, the last game that they played, LeBron basically scored 19 points, and so 98 of those points, 99 of those points that they scored was the rest of the team.
Yeah.
So that's what I like about the Lakers right now.
Well, so let me ask you a question. So Anthony Davis is out and they need to get him healthy. The timing was bad. He went out, and then Dennis Schroeder was out with COVID protocol and making sure that everything was good there. They lost 4 games during that period. Schroeder comes back. In the last 2 games, they've dominated teams. They have dominated, and I've seen Schroeder facilitate and be what an incredible difference in the team. Do you think that they can win? Say, for instance, Anthony Davis is gone for the year. He ends up, it's a problematic like Durant, and he can't play. Do you think with Schroeder and LeBron and that cast of characters there, do you think they have enough to win the championship again?
No. For the long run, no. For that deep playoff push, because there's certain stuff that I've seen Anthony Davis do, and he takes over a game, and I'm like just in awe. I don't think that Schroeder, on the long run, can sustain that. What you need is to be able to, hey, if Davis is out or Davis is off the court, LeBron and Schroeder can continue the momentum going. When LeBron is on the bench, Schroeder and Davis keep the momentum going. Where if right now, you need that third guy. You need that third yes. And right now, I don't see anybody. I don't see.
Kuzma's not it. They keep pushing Kuzma.
They keep pushing it.
You're going to be the number 3. You're going to be the number 3 for what is it, 5 years now?
But he can't be the number.
Kuzma is up. He's down. He's around. He's rebounding great. Offensive rebounds. He's really doing it. He's hustling. He's playing good defense. As Caruso always plays good defense. Those guys all have that role on that team, and they play their roles very well when they're complete. Bringing in Schroeder and Trez Harrell have really made that a good basketball team. And if they can get Davis healthy, I don't think they can be touched. I mean, those are good ball players. They got a good ball club.
What you said right there, role. When the Lakers role players are playing their roles, they're playing their best. When they have to do more than that, that's when.
And that was the problem in that 4-game losing streak.
Yes.
It took guys like Caruso out of what they do, shooting too much. He's a hustler. He's a defensive player. They asked Kuzma to shoot too many threes. KPC, he's just shooting too much. These guys are set-up shooters. They are not that kind of player. But when you have the dynamic of all them together and you have a guy like Harrell coming off the bench, what a rebounder, what a hustler. Every time he shoots, he makes it. But, I mean, they're 3-footers. And Schroeder is, those were last year the number 1 and 2 six men of the year.
Absolutely.
Harrell was number 1 and Schroeder was number 2. The Lakers got them both. What does that tell you? So as the season goes on, I'm just hoping Anthony Davis is going to be okay. That's a bad injury. That's a scary injury.
For them to repeat, otherwise,
I hope he's okay.
Because I don't see them beating the Nets if you have a healthy Durant, a healthy Harden, and of course a healthy Kyrie in the finals.
Well, the problem with the Nets is simple. If they don't make an improvement, I mean, you can't make it with DeAndre Jordan as your main center. He's just not quick enough anymore. He's just not that good. He can't shoot good enough. And the problem is they don't have enough big men. Brooklyn is prolific shooters. I mean, we know that. We know they can shoot. We know they got 3 of the best players ever in NBA history. but they have no big man presence, real big man presence. And unless they make a deal for a Blake Griffin, or somebody like that that's available out there,
but what are you?
In the end, they're not going to be.
But what are you willing to give up to get a Blake Griffin?
Well, that's the problem, and they don't have much to give up. I mean, what role player? I mean, Harris is great. I mean, they bring in that kid Joe Harris, but he's not a rebounder. He's not a physical guy. Where's the physicality? Where's the physicality in Brooklyn other than Jordan?
But they're not.
And Jordan's older. What's he in his 30s now?
Yes, but he's not. They're not a physical team because they're a small ball team. The only person that really, I guess creates his. Well, they all create their own shots, but they're not. But they're shooters.
Yeah, I mean they are shooters, and again.
So they don't need to be physical based on the NBA rules. They don't need to do all that. They just.
There's one difference in the playoffs. Teams play defense. Right now, teams don't play defense. I don't know how many 130 and 140 point games we've had. It's ridiculous.
I like
a team like Dallas just popping away. You think they're not going to get a little tough on them? Doncic and Porzingis when it gets in the playoffs.
Porzingis
Dallas
can't
is
handle
going to make the playoffs. They got to. Hey, it's fun to watch the NBA right now. You look at these teams, and there's so many improved teams. I mean, there's some great players in the NBA. There's a lot of teams improved. There's only really a couple teams that are gotten worse. I mean, Minnesota is horrible. I mean, Houston is horrible. Cleveland is horrible. Those teams aren't getting any better. But teams like Memphis, Phoenix. How about New Orleans winning that big game last night?
Yes.
They go and take a game that people didn't think they would win.
So let me put you on a little gem right now, right?
Yeah.
So last week on our last show, we had in the West, it was Utah, Lakers, Clippers, Phoenix, Portland, Denver, Golden State, right?
Dallas, yeah.
So last week, they were in the same positions.
Yeah.
On the West. On the East, we have Philly, Brooklyn, and Milwaukee. They actually flip spots this week, where you have Milwaukee and then Brooklyn. New York is number 4.
Isn't it great?
Wow.
Hey,
and then
Julius Randle.
He made it into the playoffs.
Hey, making it to the All-Star game.
Or the All-Star game. And then you have Toronto. They went down to the 7th spot, and Miami's playing ball now.
Miami's on the move. Miami's won 6 in a row.
But you know who?
You've got to look at that. But I heard Jimmy Butler on TV 2 weeks ago say, "We got to win games." When they beat the Lakers by 1 the other night, he said, "Hey man, I don't care how we won that game, but we need to win games." And they were lucky they won. I mean, that game got weird at the end, but they're a much improving team. Toronto's starting to play a lot better ball.
The team that surprised me is Charlotte.
Yeah, they're a nice little team.
I'm still surprised with Ball done just the way he's playing. He's killing all the rookies right now.
How about they beat Utah last night? Charlotte just kept hanging and hanging and hanging.
Charlotte's just one of those teams that they're playing scrappy right now, and they're doing as a rookie, Ball is doing what his brother was expected to do, and I was quite surprised. And one of the things that I want to point out with Ball is they did not bring him out and say, "You're going to be the savior of this team." He was on the bench, and then he played well. He played well enough to get to get the starting position. See that, kids? You do well enough, you'll earn what you have now, and he earned that starting position.
That's a nice little team in Charlotte.
Yes.
Again, they have no size, and in the end, you got to have a couple great big men. You're not going to win. You're not going to win just by having a bunch of guards shooting the ball. We proved it in Houston last year.
But they're
no big man. When they got rid of Capella, Houston was the biggest guy, 6'7". They weren't going to win anything.
But the trade deadline can make a difference where they can make a run in the East.
Of course.
Because the East is wide open, I think.
If somebody good gets Andre Drummond, watch out. That guy's a physical guy in the middle, and that's what you need to win it. If Brooklyn can get Andre Drummond,
they don't have anything.
Again, what are you going to give up? Well, they don't have anything to give up.
They don't have anything to give up for him.
They bring in a couple of these guys. Andre Robertson, what's he going to do for them? I mean, what's he going to do for them? I see him playing the other night. The guy was in San Antonio and OKC, and he's never been a great player. They bring him in, So they bring in Shumpert. Shumpert's been hurt. He comes in, he's not ready to play, pulls a hamstring.
And then they cut him.
Yeah. and then they get rid of him. I mean, come on, man. Brooklyn can't afford to bring in big names, and that's going to hurt them. You know, the other night, Milwaukee, I mean, Giannis looked like a beast. He took over that game against the Clippers the other night. That was a battle. That was a war. That was two good teams. I don't know if you all saw that game. Clippers were right there, right on the cusp of winning that game. And Giannis, he outscored him 17-10. He outscored the Clippers himself. The Clippers' whole team had 10 points.
Which is uncharacteristic for him because normally he takes a back.
He took over.
He takes a back seat at the end of games, and to see him do that, I was like, okay, maybe he's transitioning into the next level of superstardom, where he's gonna basically put that team on his back and win that game.
Yeah,
and he did.
You know, in all these great teams. I mean, the teams that have a Jimmy Butler, a LeBron, a Giannis, these guys are great ball players, but you do need a cast surrounding you, and that's what we've learned. You can't count on one guy to win it all for you because it's rare. LeBron's done it. You know, he put everybody on his back when they won the playoffs against Golden State, said, let's go. They came back from 3-1 down to win it. It's possible, and he gets everybody to play better, but for the most part, it's a grueling season. It's grinding. A 7-game series is grinding. You need 2-3 really good players and a great supporting cast. And the Lakers really taught me that last year. The supporting cast, along with those great players, they won it. This year, their supporting cast is.
It's
the
not
Lakers
as good.
Are a lights-out team, man. I'm telling you.
The team that I'm really enamored by is Utah, because they seem to have that perfect chemistry of. Not too many egos on that team either, and everyone does their job, show up, and do their thing. Yeah, and they got some great shooters on that team. Utah is a good team, well coached, but again, what's going to stop them from winning the championship?
And that's what I was just going to say. The concern with Utah is very, very easy. You got a good big man in the middle, but he can't play the whole game. Gobert can't play the whole game. Defensive Player of the Year a couple times, plays great. He's a good player. He's not a great player. They bring in behind him Favors. Favors is not a legitimate backup at center. That's who they bring in. Of course, their guy Millsap is hurt. How many miles does Millsap still have on him? Is he going to play anymore this year? He's tough under the basket. He'll cheat. He'll fight. He'll do whatever it takes to win. You know, he plays hard, just like a Smart in Boston. He's out right now. That hurts him a little bit, not having Millsap. But Favors, he's soft in my opinion. He's a big dude. He's got size. They bring him in, and he's just not doing it. So I think, again, they lack consistency at the big man role, and that's what's going to defeat them. That's what's going to defeat them. And the same thing in Denver. Hey, man, the Joker's awesome. But what do they got behind him? What do they got after him? The Lakers, you're bringing in Trez Harrell, baby. Let's get it on. He's going to start on most teams. So it doesn't go down when he comes in, your second role guy, your second big man. The Lakers' efficiency goes up because he's a great big man.
So then
they bring in Morris, a good big man with experience. So the Lakers are smart. They bring in a couple big men, Morris and Trez. They got what it takes to continue on the scoring and continue in that game and not to fall down when LeBron and Davis go out.
So what about
most teams don't have it.
What about the Clippers?
The Clippers are a great team. I don't think that Serge Ibaka's a true center. He starts center. But then they bring in Zubats. Zubats is a kid. I respect that guy. Every year, his 5 years in the league has gotten better. I saw him with the Lakers. He was terrible. He's playing really great with the Clippers, and he's gotten better every year. I started to say the Clippers are the only team in the whole NBA that can beat the Lakers. I'll say that right now. The Lakers, if they lose, it's going to be in the Western playoffs. It is not going to be in the finals. None of those teams. Maybe Philly. But Philly is inconsistent. You can shut Simmons down. Again, a team you can shut down. And they go as Tobias Harris goes. If Harris is on, that's when Philly is playing well. Just watch the games. The difference is not the big man. It's not the big man.
Because he's going to get his.
He's going to get his. And he's a great player.
Embiid is going to get his.
Embiid is going to get his. But Simmons and Harris are not always going to get theirs. And when it counts, it's going to be a problem. It's just like when the Lakers played Denver. You saw Jamal Murray just go off against Utah and the Clippers, and the Lakers shut him down. And when you shut the second man down or the third man down, it's all over. And that's what happens in the NBA. They do play defense. They are talented. They can play defense. but they're a little bit lazy. But, you know, I sit here today halfway through the season, coming up to All-Star break this week, and I say the Lakers healthy. There's only one team that can beat them, and that's the Clippers.
Okay.
Your opinion?
I don't think the Clippers are there. I don't think they have it all.
Where are the Clippers weak?
Paul George.
You know, it was a one-time thing last year for him.
No, I don't
he
think.
had some mental problems.
But
I don't think Paul George is going to be weak this year. I really don't.
But that's the thing, though. The Lakers will go as far as Paul George goes.
You mean the Clippers will go?
Or the Clippers will go as far as Paul George goes, and it's all on how he plays. If they shut him down, or or if he's
huge.
or if he has minutes restriction. Because at the end, when it comes to playoffs, there should be the restriction should be winning. Whatever we're gonna do, whatever it takes.
There should be zero restrictions.
Yes.
There's nothing restricting you from winning. Let's play, baby. We got a couple weeks.
And I think that's one of the things. It's gonna come down to Paul George and how he plays, and if you can get him out of his aura, you'll be able to win.
Moving and shooting. You know, when he and Leonard are on, it's just like when, you know. But the funny thing is, when you talk about when he and Leonard are on, the difference between them and the Lakers is LeBron and Davis are always on. It's very rare that they have that game where one of them plays really bad.
What they do
is
is
they both always play pretty darn good.
They take
With
quarters.
the Clippers, it's not true. So,
No.
I mean, we're a long ways away. We got a couple more months. We're halfway through the season. Let's see what happens. But, you know, I think in the end, Utah, they can have the best record. How many years has Milwaukee had the best record and they never make it to the finals of their own conference?
And I can't take that away from you.
Yeah.
So before we run out of time,
Yeah.
let's give our viewers some winners and pointers to make some bets in the next couple of days.
Thank you. It's good input.
Because we can go talk on and on.
Yeah, NBA, as you know, we love NBA and the knowledge, and I think what we bring to NBA shows is we take a lot of pride in it. It's what we're best at, is talking about NBA. But people often ask us when they see us out in public or places, well, hey, who are you betting on tonight? Who's hot? Who should I be betting on? How can I win 19 bets in a row like you could have with Utah and made yourself a millionaire? I mean, who's hot? Well, we'll just give you a couple of examples. We'll just talk about 4 games and how we would bet them. We're just talking about games and how we would bet them. And this is what you have to put with your philosophy. You always got, as we talked about on our last show, you always got to look at who's playing. Injuries are important, as you mentioned. You got to look at how long you've been on the road, 6, 7 games. You got to look if you're playing back-to-backs. You got to look if you flew last night, coming or going. So there's a lot of things that you have to determine before you ever make a bet. But I got just a couple of games here. Like, you got let's give this particular game, and this is how I would bet it. The Heat versus the Hawks. The Heat given 3.5 at home. That's a slam dunk, right?
I would take the Heat.
All day long. The Heat are a hot ball club. They have to win games. What are they, in the number 10 spot right now?
Yeah, and they
got to win ball games.
Well, right now they're at 500, so
the
Hawks
Hawks are up and down. You stop Trae Young and it's done with the Hawks.
Not to mention they just fired their coach.
Yeah, they just fired their coach, exactly. And now they brought in an interim who's been around the league for a while. But you look at the Hawks. The Heat need to win. A 3.5 at home. I'm going to take the Heat all day long. That's my major bet. If I make no other bet, I'm going to bet that game, and I'm going to bet the Heat heavy. And you'll be able to, by the time you see the show, check it out and see who won if we were right. But that would be if I was betting a game today, I absolutely would give 3.5 points to the Hawks. The Heat at home, they will light them up. If Jimmy Butler's playing.
Yeah.
Let me throw that caveat in there. And then you look at a game, Clippers -4 at Boston.
Okay.
Well, that's a tough game. Do you really want to play it? And this is what I mean about playing games. That's why I wanted to give a dichotomy of different types of games. So Boston at home, Clippers coming in. They've been on the road. Clippers -4. Well, that's a bet I don't even make, and I'll tell you why I don't make it. Boston is a team that needs to win games. They've been losing. But Boston, you know, they got to have everybody just on it. If they have one,
But I feel that it's the same way with the Clippers, and especially flying cross country. I would want to know if both of my superstars are playing.
Yeah, and I believe everybody's playing tonight. And again, Clippers -4 against Boston. Man, that's a tough bet because Boston needs to win a game. And for me, I say, if I'm betting it, I would take Boston, but I'm not betting that game.
That's the game I would stay away from,
Yeah,
personally.
I'd stay away from it. And that's what I mean when we talk about games. And I'll give you another example. The Lakers at home tonight, they've won 2 in a row. And again, we're just giving examples of games so you can see how we do things. I'm not telling you to bet any specific games because you can't bet these by the time this show airs. But the Lakers 1.5 to Phoenix. Phoenix is playing good ball. What are they, number 3? Where are they in the West?
Phoenix, they're number 4.
Number 4, playing great ball. They're
Yes.
going into the Lakers. The shooter's back. You don't have Davis. Chris Paul's coming into town. He wants to win bad. Booker's a great player. I'll give Phoenix a 1.5 all day long and take the Lakers at home tonight against Phoenix. The Lakers will roll. I believe the Lakers will win by 10 points or more because the Lakers got their point guard back. They got that consistency
And they
back.
got their shot back.
They got their shot back. And they don't want to lose to somebody, a rival in their own division. Just like they beat up Golden State. What did they beat them by, 40 the other night? It was 30, 40, whatever it was. They're up by 20 at the end of the first quarter because Golden State is in their division. They're not going to let teams in their division beat them. It's just like in the NFL. You don't want teams in your... So Lakers given 1.5. Bet the Lakers all day. And then we'll do one last one on this show and we'll move on. Here's an interesting game. You got Milwaukee who's playing well. They lost 5 in a row. Now Milwaukee's won 5 in a row. Mm-hmm. So 5-5, and maybe they're going to lose 5 in a row again. I don't know. They're so inconsistent. It's not even funny.
Well, -8 though.
Yeah, think about it. Against Denver at Denver's home, I say again, Denver goes as Murray goes. The Joker's always going to play well. I just believe that Denver is not going to get beat like that by Milwaukee tonight, and I would take Denver at home and take the points all day long. So, just to review, I mean, a couple games that we would do. And check them out and see how we did. But I think you'll find that that's how I play consistently all the time. I find a real good reason to play or not to play games. Again, I wouldn't play Boston and Clippers because it could go either way. But if I had to, I was forced to, I'd play Boston. How about you? Rick, Boston. It's a good schedule.
I guess I would take Boston on that.
Yeah.
Just because they're flying out.
Well, the Clippers been on the East Coast for a couple of days.
Well, and that's the thing, though. Those 2 superstars, they're not made to for the wear and tear.
On those 2 guys.
I can't.
They're better than you think they are.
I'm not being tough on them.
Clippers.
I'm being soft on them.
You're talking about their 2 superstars being a little soft.
Yeah.
Okay, then
They're
you
brittle.
are being tough on them.
Sorry,
Anyways.
somebody should.
No, that's fine. And hey, that's why we do this show.
So I'll take the Celtics, just because I don't think those guys
are.
are.
Too. Anyways, the Heat and the Hawks. The Heat given 3.5 points.
I'll take the Heat on that one.
All day long, right?
And then I'll take the Nuggets, just because
You're going to take the Nuggets, yeah.
Yeah.
Me too. And you're going to take the Lakers.
And I'll take the
So
Lakers.
again, the show will air, and you'll be able to see how we did by the time these games are going to be played. But I would do Heat, Lakers, Denver, and I'd parlay it. I'd do each of them individually and parlay that. I'm going to win 3 games in a big parlay. That's how I play my games. We'll talk more about betting trends. I just wanted to give you some specific ideas of how we bet, and you should do it. And I'll give more tips as we go, but we have a lot of success betting on NBA, more than the NFL, more than any other sport. We're pretty successful at NBA, and particularly on parlays. But once in a while we mess up. Last week I gave you 2 losers, right? I said take San Antonio over OKC, and they lost. And then I said parlay it to the Clippers against somebody. I forget who it was, and they got their, no, the Lakers. The Lakers, that was their last loss of 4. I didn't think they'd lose 4 in a row. So
I didn't think
I
so
do
either.
lose. We do lose, but I will tell you this: 70% of the time we're winning, and just do the math. Anyways, thanks for watching. Great show. It's so much fun to talk about NBA. Anything you wanted to finish with? Any thoughts about games coming up or All-Star game or what's going on? Who's going to be the MVP of the All-Star game?
I would say Durant, but he's probably not going to play.
He's not playing. He's just coaching.
So one of the, for the All-Star game, real quick, Jimmy Butler said if his boy, you said it best, Adebayo.
Oh, Adebayo, yeah.
If he doesn't play, he doesn't want to be a part of the All-Star game. So I guess he's sitting out too. Because Durant is not playing, he would have been the next one to get called up, and he is like, no. other than that,
So they're not, okay, that's fine.
I respect that.
That's fine. I think it's, we'll run up and down and
It's
be
an all-star
170 to
game. It's the
160.
fans. The fans don't know anything. They just vote for their best players, and people that are voting on that usually, people who are not voting don't have the time for that. We'll just watch the game and all that.
Watch the game, enjoy it. Halfway through the season, there'll be a couple of days off to regroup for the teams and get some rest. Thanks for watching this show. It's always a lot of fun. Please like it. Please tell your friends about it. Look at some bets. It's fun stuff. As the year goes on, we'll talk more and more about trends, and you'll figure it out. But betting on the NBA is fun, and if you like to do some bets with your buddies and your friends and have bragging rights, look at our good friends over at FanWagon, Dexter and Chris, that run that group over there. It's a great betting app. Get the app. Bet at FanWagon, bet some of these games and all kinds of sports. They're particularly going to be strong on UFC at FanWagon this week. So anyways, look at them and see what they have available. But thanks for watching. Thanks for liking. Please share. Watch us at YouTube. Watch us at Roku, Instagram. We're all over the place. WWDBTV, the famous WWDBTV, where Mr. John Stiles hangs out. John Stiles, producer extraordinaire. God bless. Thanks for watching. Enjoy the little break with the All-Star game. God bless you. Talk soon.